Hi YouTube, it's me, Chef Lethal. It's been a minute, slightly longer than a minute, and I am back with another season 2 of my Path of Exile slow walkthrough series. Now, if you didn't watch season 1, shame on you. But if you did, hi, welcome back. But seriously, if you didn't, I'll give you a quick recap. So I'm Chef Lethal, and this is Path of Exile, and it's a roughly 10 or 11 year old action RPG game where you create a character, you go through a campaign, you collect loot, you get better, richer, stronger, all the things. But the thing about this game is that it's been out for 10 years. There is so much content, especially with this latest Settlers of Calgur. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but especially with this latest expansion, which it's a temporary league situation, kind of like Diablo 4 runs, where every 3 or 4 months or so, new mechanics are introduced into the game, new balance changes, major patches to make the game more fun and interesting and introduce new things for the players to play because we've been playing it for so long. That all said, it can be very daunting as a new person coming to Path of Exile, or you haven't played in 6 years and you want to come back and experience the game again. It can be a lot to take in. So that's where I come in. A lot of big time YouTubers will do walkthrough series for the game, but they already have such a high knowledge that it can sometimes be hard to follow them, or they go too quickly. So the goal of this for me is to just go slowly through the campaign, taking my sweet time and explaining everything that goes through the game as it comes up. Very minimally edited, unless something comes up in real life or I need to speed something up. It's pretty much just me playing the game in real time, which is great. So this obviously is serving as episode 0. I think with every single series I've ever done on YouTube, there's always an episode 0, caveats and things that I need to get out of the way before we get into the meat of whatever it is that we're doing. In this case, slowly walking through Path of Exile, explaining everything along the way. So, while you can absolutely play Path of Exile on its own, all you need is to go to pathofexile.com and download the game and create an account. That's all you have to do. There are a couple things that we're going to do to supplement the baseline experience. All this is nothing's cheating. We're not doing anything that costs money. Everything is on the up and up, just in order to give us the best experience possible in playing the game. So the first thing I want to mention is that when you start a new character in Path of Exile, especially as a brand new player, there are 2 camps of thought. Camp number 1 says just get in, select a character type that you like, and play the game however the heck you want to do it. Make your mistakes and get as far as you can. Camp number 2 is the one I'm more or less in, is where, and kind of the crux of this whole series is find a content creator or somebody that's put out a build guide that looks interesting and follow that. The reason why I like this is because if you're just going through the game, you don't know what you're doing, you're just selecting skills and selecting this and doing that, you don't know what you're doing. In my opinion and in my experience, I'm less likely to continue playing because eventually you're going to hit a wall and you're not going to have learned much. If you're following a guide that handholds you throughout the entire experience, basically up until you're in the higher levels, you stand a better chance at sticking with it because you're more familiar with actually playing the game and killing monsters efficiently and not getting stuck on one hard monster and getting frustrated and rage quitting forever. So, go download Path of Exile if you haven't done already. The first extra tool that we're going to be talking about is Path of Building, and I'm going to have links to all this down in the description of every single one of these videos, so don't despair. There is a link in the description. So the first extra tool that we're going to be talking about is Path of Building. This is Path of Building. This represents the entire skill tree in Path of Exile. As you can see, it's very daunting. There's a lot here. That's why you need a build guide. So you can efficiently path from where you start to where you want to get to and everything in between. This is a very, very, very powerful tool, and it goes beyond just following guides. We'll be able to use it later to compare new gear that we find, or if we're crafting something, or if we want to try a different node on the tree than what's recommended in the guide, we can do that, and we can see how it affects our person before it ever even goes live in the game. Very, very cool. You can import your character here and do all sorts of things without ever having to interact with it in the game. There's like a whole mini game in here, basically, creating items and figuring things out. It's pretty crazy. But this is the first thing. Absolutely recommend, because we're going to be following a build guide. We're going to be using Path of Building every single step along the way. Speaking of build guide, okay, so what you have playing behind me here is the build guide that we're going to be following. Again, link down in the description. This is from Zizaran. You can see his name over in that direction. And it's going to be the Ground Slam Slayer. A little bit of a history. Way back several leagues ago, when I first came back to Path of Exile after years and years and years of not playing, I tried playing Ground Slam, which is almost exactly what it sounds like. You have a big hammer or some big two-handed weapon, and you're slamming the ground, and it's creating this big ripple. You can see it happening in the game. He's slamming, and then this big arc of damage is going. Melee, up until this latest patch, has pretty much sucked. It's been in a really bad way. But finally, there have been some big changes to the way Melee works, and the return of Ground Slam. I'm very excited about this. It's a pretty easy build, which is what I want for this series. In the first season, I did almost like a no-click build called Righteous Fire. We're not doing that. We're going to do a little bit more clicking, a little bit more skill involved, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to go through and just slam and blow things up and have a great time. So link for this video is in the description. If you do end up following this guide, if you end up liking my video, I recommend and I suggest go to Zizaran's video and drop him a like, maybe even a comment, and say, you know, Chef Lethal sent me. I would really appreciate that, actually, but that's completely optional. Just want to make sure I give him credit because I did not create what we're going to do. So within his video here, I can go to his more, and if I go to this POBB here, I'm going to copy this link right here. Copy. And I'm going to open up Path of Building. Excellent. And I'm going to import build. And then to import a build, enter the URL here. So when I copy that in, URL is valid. And I'm going to import. Okay. Here is our Ground Slam Slayer build that we're going to be following. Don't need to do anything with this right now. I am going to save this in a new folder, and I'm going to call it 3.25 just in case I have extra builds I want to follow. I have a folder for the league. This is the 3.25 league, and it looks like I did something dumb and I nested it into my 3.24. That's fine, I'll fix that later. And this is the Ground Slam Slayer. All right, great. So we got that all taken care of. The next tool I want to talk about are item filters. Welcome to Filter Blade. Link is down in the description for this as well, and this is what is going to be used to filter out the items that fall on the ground in Path of Exile. There are times where there could be literally hundreds, thousands of different items on the ground, and it can be nigh on impossible to play the game with all those items showing. So we can use a filter and filter out everything that we want or don't want. Filter out the things that we don't want. So there's so many different options here, but to keep things relatively streamlined, what I'm going to do is, for this playthrough, at least starting out, we are going to go regular, never sync softcore. All right, that's going to be determining the regular is going to be determining the strictness of the filter. So we're going to see a lot more items than if you're playing on, say, uber strict, which would be much later in the game usually. And then for the softcore, hardcore, this will filter out items based on the current market for player-to-player trade, which we're not going to get into for quite some time. But if something is worth a lot in the market, it will absolutely show that, even if it doesn't fall into the category that we've filtered out for. Okay, so then I'm going to go to customize, and here you can nitpick down to the very single items that you want to see and how you want them to go and everything. Not going to touch it. Not going to touch it at all. I'm going to go back. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my mind here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to create a new filter for this. Never sync HC instead of, because it automatically loaded one that I already used, so I don't want to do that. So never sync HC and regular customize. We're not going to change a darn thing. You can simulate what things look like when they drop. You can literally copy things from the game and paste them into here, and it'll show you what it would look like. I'm not going to do any of that. For style, they used to have themes. They just updated this too, so I'm... Dang, okay, we're just going to leave it as the default right now, because I don't want to do this. This is a whole thing. You can go through and there's so many different options you can see. You can upload custom sounds. At least you used to be able to update custom sounds. Well, I'm not changing anything. I'm gonna leave it all the way it is. Do we want to do anything advanced? No, I'm not gonna touch it. All I want is a basic softcore filter. I'm gonna export this. I'm gonna call this basics. Oops, I can spell softcore. I don't need to do that. Okay. And I'm going to load this by default. I am a Patreon supporter of Filter Blades, so some of these options may not be available to you. I think auto load may not be, or at least auto update. I think you can auto load, but you won't be able to auto update. I need to check my Patreon. Now that that's done, you can sync or download. So you can download everything as a zip file if you want to manually let the game find the folder for you and do the things. Otherwise, I like to sync mine directly to the account. I will create a new sync target and select that. And now when I open up Path of Exile, I will be able to select my basic softcore filter, and that will be good to go for the game. Three, two. You may also see down in the description the Awakened PoE trade link. I recommend downloading that and installing that as well. We're not going to be doing player-to-player trading right now, which is really what that's useful for, but I recommend just having it because it's free and it makes it easier later on. You don't have to worry about it. Just one less thing to have on the brain. So that is what I recommend with that. Now, I should also mention, I had just said at the beginning of the video, basically, that you can go to pathofexile.com and download the game. The game is also available on Steam. In fact, I think most people play it using Steam. That's how I play it. For my original walkthrough series, I created a separate brand new account and used the standalone launcher to play the game that way. But if you already have Steam, there's no need to download a new launcher or anything like that. Just go to Steam and download the game. It's the same either way. It's free, okay? So yeah, that's gonna be it. The next video is going to be actually setting up the character and getting into the very beginning of the game. So if I'm able to keep kind of the same cadence that I did last time, I'm usually able to get a lot of recording done in the middle of the day or days. Edit them because it's minimally edited, just a few cuts here, there, fade in for the intro, fade out for the outro, grab a screenshot somewhere along the way, and basically post it. So hopefully I can get these going once a day. If I get too much of a backlog going, I will double up some days to get kind of caught up. But my hope is that you are with me along the way, even just to have it on in the background, listen to me whine on about whatever it is that's going on in the game. Also note, you will not be seeing my face during the actual gameplay. Camera's going to be off. It's just going to be the game and my voice, right? So you don't have to worry about this, and I don't have to worry about how terrible I look that day. It's a win-win for everybody. So that's going to be it for me today. Episode 0 of the slow walkthrough series. Not much walking, but always got to get everybody set up from the very beginning and kind of set expectations from the get-go. So if you are looking forward to this at all, let me know in the comments or drop a like in the YouTube thing and help me out. Hopefully reach some more eyeballs that haven't seen me before or seen Path of Exile before, or both. That would be cool. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in Rayclast.